Hey, what's going on, family? It's Audrey here with the CBCAnetwork.com. On this channel, we help entrepreneurs and business owners get access to personal and business funding using a simple 5-step process. So, welcome, guys. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how to remove inquiries off your credit report in 24 hours or less. How to get those stinky, nasty, pesky inquiries off your credit report in 24 hours or less. Okay. We're going to give you the blueprint. It's not going to be a long live stream. I'm going to break down how your inquiry letters need to go, how you can call the bureaus, what type of tone of voice you need, everything you need in order to clean your credit file for those pesky little inquiries, right? Again, if you're watching this on Instagram, if you're watching this on YouTube on the replay, we do have the Pay Anything Business Funding Made Easy Masterclass, the VIP tickets. Normally they are $97 when you use the discount code. But for Black Friday, we are doing a Pay Anything sale. So you pay anything to come to the masterclass VIP session for free. For anything you want. If you want to come to general admission, you just don't want to pay anything, we still have free available. But if I was you, I would take advantage of the Pay Anything because you're going to get entered to win a flat panel TV. So somebody's going to win a 50-inch flat panel TV, and I'm giving away 2 30-minute coaching sessions. So make sure you tap in, click the link in the bio. And tonight we're going to get into it, man. We're going to talk about how to remove inquiries. So here's the thing. Also, for those of you who would like to join the next one-day masterclass, you can text the letters EZ to 980-825-4360. You can text the letters EZ to 980-825-4360 to actually do a pay anything. So you can literally pay whatever price you want, right? Pay $1, $5, $10, whatever you want. Come to the masterclass, get the handouts, get the dispute letters, get everything. And I'm giving away a flat TV, and I'm giving away 2 coaching sessions for $30. 30 minutes, I'm sorry. Sorry, y'all. But let's talk about inquiries, man. Now, here's the thing you have to understand about hard inquiries on your personal credit. And I get this question a lot. Hey, I got 2 inquiries. Hey, I got X amount of inquiries. Whatever the case may be, right? I have these inquiries on my credit. Someone said, can you say the number again? So it's 980-825-4360 or real estate K. You can click the link in the bio on my Instagram and it'll be right at the top. But here's the question I get all the time. People say, hey, I got these inquiries. Are they hurting me? Are they, people get so wound up about inquiries. So here's what I want to say about inquiries. And we're going to get into how to remove your inquiries, how to clean your credit inquiries, right? But here's my personal thoughts on this. If you get a credit inquiry on your credit report, and let's say you get approved, well, the thing you have to remember about inquiries is a lot of inquiries in a short amount of time, that's what gets you in trouble. A lot of inquiries in, let's say, a 2 to 3 to 4 day period, that's when inquiries hurt you the most. If you're car shopping and you get 12 inquiries at one dealership, yes, your credit score is going to take a huge hit. So I don't want to be insensitive. I don't want to sound like, inquiries are not a big deal because I know how important credit scores are, how people, how they affect people's mental health. If your credit drops, think the end of the world is happening, whatever the case may be. But if we're talking about business funding, right? Inquiries tend to matter less when you have a strong profile. And what I mean is, let's say the oldest account on your personal credit report is 10 years old. You have 3 to 4 credit cards with, let's say, $5,000 to $10,000 limits. You have no late payments, no collections, and you got a pretty strong profile. If you have, let's say, 6 inquiries over the last year, and say your last inquiry was like 60 days ago, banks really are not going to, turn you away. If you have a strong 740 with 6 inquiries, it's not a huge deal. But let's say you have a strong 760, 740 credit score and you got 8 inquiries in 2 or 3 days. That means you're a little thirsty. That means the banks look at you more as a risk. So if you space out your inquiries, and I always tell people this, if you space your inquiries out over a 60-day period, you really won't have any issues because they impact you the most within those first 60 days. So if you go to Wells Fargo, you run a Wells Fargo play, of course, they're going to pull your personal credit, hard inquiry for the business line of credit. And then let's say you run a BOA play, they pull Experian. Let's say you had like 6 inquiries on Experian over a week or 2 time frame. That is worse than, let's say you had 12 inquiries, 2 in the first quarter, 2 the second quarter this year, 2 in the third quarter, and maybe just 2 recently. Let's just say you had 2. So you had 8 total, but your most recent inquiry was 3 weeks ago. And before that, it may have been June. That's not a big deal. Banks won't turn you down for that. So you have to be clear on what inquiries are and what they are not. Inquiries in a short window. When I say short window, I mean, 48 hours, 36 hours or less. If you have 8 inquiries in like a 3-day period, that's a red flag to the banks. If you have 4 inquiries and your most recent inquiry was July of this year, that's not going to necessarily count you out the game as long as your profile is strong. So I just want to be clear about that because I don't want you guys taking this information and going and disputing inquiries willy-nilly. We're going to get into the ones you need to not ever touch because there are some inquiries that I would tell you don't even worry about disputing. Some banks, they are petty, and we'll get into that. But I just want to try to set the stage. So inquiry removal mastery. So here's what you have to understand about inquiries. And again, you have to understand the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So the way that inquiries work is whenever you apply for funding, whether it's personal funding, business credit card, whatever the case may be, when a bank does a hard pull on your credit, they are pulling your credit file to see what's there, right? In the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it states that it has to be permissible purpose. You can Google this. There has to be permissible purpose for the inquiry to remain on your credit report. Permissible purpose, meaning it has to be a reason why the inquiry stays on your personal credit. Now, here are the permissible purposes. If the court pulls your credit for child support, if you're summoned by a judge for any reason, right, a lawsuit or whatever, and they need to check your credit, those inquiries can remain on your personal credit file for up to 25 months. So the thing you have to remember with inquiries within the first 60 days, that's when you're really going to feel the impact, right? If you go to the dealership, they shop your loan around. It happens all the time. I'm a huge fan of going to, your local credit union or, run the BOA play, get pre-approved, and then go shop for a car. But inquiries have to have permissible purpose. And so what that means is that if you apply for a Capital One card and the inquiry remains on your credit report, you can dispute that inquiry based on permissible purpose because you can basically say, hey, yeah, I applied for the Capital One business credit card, but I did not agree to let them keep the inquiry on my personal credit, right? Again, remember, the bureaus are kind of like snitches. They're telling all your business, right? They're like the old ladies in the hood who just sit on the porch and gossip and tell all the business around what's going on in the neighborhood. That's why you know what's going on in the neighborhood because they always tell it. The same thing with the bureau. So with that said, again, remember, permissible purpose. It has to be a reason for the inquiry to remain. Remember, child support, court order, and I forget what the other ones are, but there has to be some permissible purpose. So when you're disputing inquiries, and I'm going to pull up the letter here in a minute. When you're disputing inquiries, you want to be sure that your letter reads a certain way, okay? And I'm gonna bring up the letter template. Again, if you're watching this on Instagram, you want to get the dispute inquiry removals template, the letter that I'm looking at, I'm going through, you have to come to the YouTube channel. If you want this actual templated letter, if you want the actual format template of this letter, then you have to register. Click the link in the bio, come to the VIP session. I'm giving you the handouts. I give you all the credit dispute letter handouts. We just updated those. All right. Big Sip, what's going on, man? So, permissible purpose, right? That's what we're basically saying. Hey, you have no permissible purpose. So I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna get into it. Again, Instagram, if you're watching this, man, make sure you give me give me some hearts, show me some love, and then also share this out, man. Share this with 5 people. Share the live with 5 people. 5 people that you know that's trying to fix their credit. All right, so here is how your letter should be formatted to a certain extent, right? So you can see here, and I'm going to read it off, right? To whom it may concern, I informally challenge you to review the data on file. I insist that you comply with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Section 611. 611, that's the section 611 in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. You're referencing that part of it because that part states that there has to be permissible purpose. Boom, you're saying I'm in Metro 2 compliance standards in order to ensure that the accuracy of information reported about me. I also request that you remove any and all false accounts from your records immediately. Only factual, accurate, verified, and compliant data should be documented and included on my credit report from now on. Below is a summary of the data that I am challenging, and you just list out all your inquiries. Now, one thing you need to add to your letters, and I would add this even to your dispute. If you're disputing collections, if you're disputing charge-offs, whatever you're disputing, I would add this language to my letters, because what's happening now is the bureaus, they slick. What they're doing is they're using stall tactics. TransUnion specifically, they are using stall tactics. They're basically stalling you out. They're trying to stall you out. All right. By saying, hey, you're working with a credit repair company. We want you to send in a letter that you sent, right? Kind of, basically sun you off. Basically, little boy, slap you upside the head, get you out of here. So, with that being said, you want to add this to your letters, whether it's inquiries, charge-offs, bankruptcies, whatever letter you send into the bureau. At the end of the letter, put this language. I am aware that you've been sending out form letters in response to many of the disputes and challenges that consumers have submitted. Regardless of the specific information that they provided, this is illegal, as each dispute and challenge must be addressed individually and on its own merits. My letters were created using software that is available to everyone. If you don't process my letters, you are violating 15 U.S. Code 51681I. Keep in mind, you are not allowed to delay processing letters from consumers based on the assumption that help from a third party may be available. This is not a legal exception. I am the author of any letters you receive with my name on them. Either I or my advisors wrote them with my full knowledge and consent. I'm aware that there is no law that says you need to provide a power of attorney in order to delay processing letters from a consumer. If you do not process my letters in a timely manner, I will consider it to be an intentional disregard of my rights. That's a lot. But you need that in your letters, family. Put that in your letters. Put that in your letters. Because the bureaus are slick. They know that we're sending in letters. They know that we beating them upside the head. They know that we bullying them now. We're not getting bullied anymore. We know our rights. We know the Fair Credit Reporting Act. We know what to say in the letters to get them disputed. So here's what you have to do. You have to make sure that you're disputing inquiries that are not attached to personal accounts. A lot of people say, hey, I need to get these inquiries off. What inquiries do you have? Oh, I got this American Express. I got Navy Federal. I got this, blah, blah, blah. If you have inquiries that are attached to personal accounts, you do run the risk of getting your accounts closed. Navy Federal, Discover, Capital One, Chase in some cases. Some banks are petty. When you dispute the inquiry, if you say, hey, this wasn't me, it was fraud, whatever the case may be, they get petty and they say, well, if it wasn't you, then we're going to close the account. And that's personal. Now, here's what's even worse. Let's say you apply for a business chase card and you have a personal chase. Now you didn't get the business card and you close your personal chase, which drops your history. So you have to be mindful about what increase to remove and which ones to keep. So again, going back to credit card stacking, a lot of you guys watch that video, you ask questions about, credit card stacking, what's the ins and outs of it. The reason why it doesn't necessarily work out in your favor is because you get a ton of increase in a short window. When you do credit card stacking, you apply 8, 9, 10 apps on one bureau. So you get 8, 9, 10 hits. TransUnion, 8, 9, 10 hits. Experian, Equifax. Until those increases come off your credit report, you're pretty much stuck. You can't keep going. That's why I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of stacking bureaus. Meaning I would go to like 10 banks that only pull Equifax. I would go to 10 banks that only pull Experian, 10 banks that only pull TransUnion. Because you really don't know. Like Chase is known to pull Experian and Equifax. Some cases, if you live on the West Coast, American Express pulls Experian. But if you live up north or in the Midwest, sometimes they pull Equifax. So just understand that credit card stacking doesn't help if you don't do it the right way. And if you dispute inquiries, make sure they're not attached to personal accounts. Okay. Again, this is good for like if you go to the dealership or if you went to the dealership in the past and they ran your credit about 12,000 times while you were in the dealership, then yes, get a hold of this inquiry removal letter, dispute those inquiries off your personal credit. Now, with the permissible purpose, one thing you definitely hit, I'm going to give you guys some tips so we can wrap this up real quick. I don't want to be on too long. Change the personal information. Update that first. Before you challenge any inquiry, update your personal information. Now, you can update your personal information on the letter that you send to the bureaus, but I personally, if I was you, I would only dispute one thing at a time. So I would send one letter for your personal information and one letter for your inquiries. I wouldn't try to merge the letters into one. You can, but it takes longer to process and you probably won't hear back from the bureaus any faster. So clean up your personal information. Get your old addresses off of there, old employers. Clean all of that up. And then next, with the inquiries, look at what's reporting on your personal credit. If it's Discover, if it's Navy Federal, if it's any of those banks that I mentioned, Chase, sometimes even the credit unions now, some of the credit unions, they'll shut you down. I personally would say if you apply for like a personal loan, auto loan, things like that, you can dispute those inquiries all day long. But just be mindful that some banks are petty. Some banks are petty. So if you have a Navy Federal personal card and you apply for a Navy Federal business card, they pull Experian for the business and they pull TransUnion for the personal. I wouldn't dispute those inquiries. I don't advise my clients and even my students. I don't advise you guys to. I've never told anyone to dispute inquiries with Navy Federal because they will shut your account down. That's just the way it goes. So just be mindful of that. Be mindful of the inquiries that you're disputing. If it's on your personal credit, if you already have the account. Now, again, inquiries are not the end of the world, family. But if you're going to dispute them, you have to do it correctly, right? So use the language that I put in that letter, right? If you come to the one-day masterclass, we're going to give you all these templates and handouts, okay? So you can pay anything. All you have to do is text the letters EZ to 980-825-4360. Text the letters EZ to 980-825-4360 to understand how to dispute things off your personal credit. Come hang out, come have fun. This masterclass, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to learn some stuff. We're going to get some approvals. And we're going to rock out. But that's all I really wanted to kind of give you guys some tips on inquiries. Now, one last thing before we wrap this up. Here's how you can remove inquiries in 24 hours. Everything that I just showed you in this letter, this dispute letter that's on the screen, that was on the screen. You're going to call the bureaus. You're going to call out from work because you're going to be on the phone for a long time. But here's the thing. If you clean up your personal information first, your name, one address, one phone number, one employer, clean that first, and then you go after these inquiries. When you call them on the phone, there's a much higher chance that you'll get them removed. Now, one thing I didn't mention, and I'm actually going to, if you're coming to the 3-day business funding sprint, which starts November 30th, I'm going to show you how to dispute inquiries with the secondary bureaus. Everything we talked about tonight was disputing with TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, but there's some other bureaus that house inquiry data, and I'm going to show you what those bureaus are and how to dispute those inquiries with the secondary bureaus. But outside of that, another way to dispute inquiries is over the phone. Over the phone. Now, you're going to take that same verbiage in your letter, right? So you're going to take that same letter and you're going to say, hey, I saw that there was a Barclays Bank inquiry on my personal credit. You can say, I request that you remove any false accounts from my record. You could really just literally verbatim read the letter and just say, oh, we can't do it. You have to call the bank. Say, hey, I already spoke to the bank. And I know based on FCRA section 611, when you start saying that Fair Credit Reporting Act, I know my rights, FCRA this, FCRA that, oh yeah, they'll fall in line. Now, will you get it on the first call? It's 50-50. But we know we're not going to call one time if we try to get these inquiries off, right? And you can even hire a VA. You can hire a virtual assistant, right? We're business owners. We're busy. We don't necessarily have time to be on the phone for an hour, 2-3 hours trying to dispute inquiries. Hire a VA. Hire a virtual assistant, $2-3 an hour. Boom, boom, boom. But that's it, family. I just wanted to give you some quick tips on how to remove inquiries off your credit report in 24 hours or less. Call the bureaus. Call them up. Hey, I know my rights. Do the section 611. There is no permissible purpose why these inquiries need to remain on my credit. And just bully them. Make sure that they do what they're supposed to do, right? But other than that, who got questions, man? Let's talk about questions again. For those of you who are coming to the next 1-day business funding masterclass, we are doing pay what you want VIP tickets. So you pay whatever price you want to pay to come to the VIP session. It starts at 9 a.m. Again, we're going to be giving prizes away. We're going to be giving away 2 30-minute coaching calls. We're going to be giving away a 50-inch flat screen TV. So make sure you get your tickets, man. Pay whatever you want. I can't make it any easier than that. I literally had somebody tell me, hey, I don't have any money to come to the masterclass or for help with funding. And I said, hey, we have a pay what you want VIP session where we're basically training you over 2.5, almost 3 hours, how to fix your personal credit, how to structure your personal credit, how to build business credit in 30 to 45 days, how to find banks in your local area. And I'm showing you exactly what to say when you walk in the bank. You can pay whatever you want and keep the handouts, keep the templates, keep everything. And they ghosted me, y'all. They put me on red. Crazy. All right. See, we got a question. Someone said, Audrey, when you mean by cleaning, what information should I clean up and how do I do that? So you want to send that first letter is going to say, this is my only address. This is my only. So it's basically, this is my only address. So this is my only address. This is my only employer. This is my only name, etc. That's the letter you're going to send first, Jay Brown. You're going to send that letter first. Now you can put the 2 letters together. You can put at the top all the inquiries you want to dispute and then say, hey, by the way, this update my any other addresses, say please remove any other addresses other than the following. Right? You can do them, 2 things on 1 letter. I just don't recommend it, Jay. You can do them both at the same time. You can dispute the inquiries at the top of the letter and then say, hey, update my personal information. Big Sip said, I need that TV. I'm going to get my son to come. That's what's up, man. Tell your son to come on, man. Let's do it. Let's tap in. What up, Santana, my brother? What's going on, man? 49ers, we looking like we Super Bowl contenders, man. I like our chances this year, man. We got CMC. That's the Swiss Army knife for sure. What other questions, man? I want to make sure we clear on these inquiries, man. Inquiries are not the end of the world, but you need to go about it a certain way. You want to make sure you have a strategy to your inquiries. You don't want to just dispute every inquiry and have no inquiries on your personal credit. Especially if you got a lot of new accounts. If you got like 3 or 4 new accounts and no inquiries to show, it kind of doesn't look right. All right. We'll take a few more questions. Big Sip said, before you go, I'm trying to help my son establish credit. I have him as an AU on one of my cards, but that's all the credit he has. He did run his credit at a dealership, but what should I do? I personally wouldn't, Big Sip, I wouldn't, if he's trying to establish credit, what I would do is I would maybe get him a secured card with like, Capital One secure platinum card or the Discover secure card. Those are my 2 favorite secure cards. And then if he's already AU on your card, I would try to get him in the Amex family as soon as possible. Because the longer you stay with Amex, the better limits you get, the more cards you get, the whole it's a better American Express to me. The earlier you can get in with them, the better. So that's what I would do, Big Sip. If you're already on your credit, I wouldn't try to go get an auto loan, especially with the rates right now and things going how they going as far as economically. It just don't make a lot of sense to establish credit with an auto loan. Now, if he needs a car, maybe do a personal loan so that way he owns the car. So if he ever had to sell the car, he could pay back the loan. Because if you get an auto loan from the bank, if you sell the car, the bank get paid first and then you get paid. So I would say, if you could get him, $10,000 personal loan, that would look a lot better on his personal credit versus an auto loan. That's just, kind of 30-foot view. So I don't know what's on his credit report. Said Card Match has him pre-approved for several big cards, but I don't want to crash his credit with more inquiries. Yeah, get the inquiries off first, Big Sip. That's the first thing. Update the personal information, get the inquiries off, and then maybe do a personal loan and buy the car cash. And you can use a credit union. You can use, not Alliant Federal Credit. You can use Alliant. You can do what is it? Redstone Federal Credit Union. They got great interest rates on the auto loans right now. They got great rates on the auto loans. My man said, I need that TV. Sorry, family. All right, we're going to take a few more questions. Jay Brown said, one more thing. I have 3 inquiries from SBA loan that I got approved for them. Then they withdraw my approval for personal reasons. Yeah, you could dispute the SBA. You can dispute those. I disputed mine for the EIDL. They came off Experian. T says, can I dispute all the lenders not rely? I think that means related. Yes. If you're saying, can I dispute all the lenders not related to personal credit accounts? Yes, you can. You can. You can dispute the inquiries for the SBAs also. That didn't approve my recent car purchase. Yes, if you didn't get approved, I would highly recommend getting inquiries off ASAP. Does Credit One American Express fall into that category? American Express is not terribly increase sensitive. I haven't heard of American Express shutting down accounts if you dispute the inquiry, but it's possible. It's possible. I haven't heard it though. All right, fam. Well, that is it. I don't want to be on here too long. We've been on here 30 minutes rocking. Make sure you click the link in the bio if you're on Instagram. Pay what you want. VIP. One-day masterclass, November the 19th, 9 a.m. Come to the masterclass. You VIP. You pay whatever you want. Get entered to win the TV, flat screen TV. We're giving away 2 30-minute coaching sessions. and we got some cash prizes. We're trying to do it for you guys, man. I want everybody to get this funding, man. These banks are tightening up. The longer you wait, the worse it's gonna get. You know, I can't put it any realer than that. The longer you wait, the worse it's gonna get. Especially if you don't have relationships with these banks. If you're not opening up business and checking accounts and establishing relationships, it's pretty much gonna be a wrap for you. I don't care what your credit score is. That's it, family. I don't have anything else. I don't see any other questions. IG, make sure you click the link in the bio, register for the Pay What You Want one-day business funding masterclass. YouTube, the link is in the description. Also, if you're looking for one-on-one help, if you would like our team to help you get your first or your next $100,000 or $150,000 in funding without having to walk into a bank, make sure you text the letter CBCA to 980-825-4360. The letters are CBCA. If you're on Instagram, you can DM the letters CBCA to the DM, or you can text that to 980-825-4360 to find out how our team can help you get your first or your next $150,000 in funding without having to walk in the bank, without having to pay for credit repair, and without having to show tax returns or bank statements. So we can help you with that. But other than that, family, I don't have anything. I hope to see you guys next week on the live stream. I hope to see everybody at the VIP session. You should be there. All right, we got one last question. Someone T said real quick, one business account per bank. Yes. I would do, one business checking, one business savings, or just business checking, business savings, one or the other. Yes, a business profile can be repaired, Big Sip, and we can definitely deep dive into that at the one-day masterclass. That's a good question. Yes, but yes, to answer your question, a business profile can be repaired. But all right, family, I'm out of here. I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me as always. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like this video. It helps the content get out to a wider audience, and we greatly appreciate the support. I will see you all next week. All right, family, we out of here.